How you guys doing? It's Dupree Marcel, and you're plugged in. Today I have a really special presentation for you guys. This is dedicated to my brother because he bugged me. He said, "Sam, you really have to do this story," and he is rightfully so, along with my little one, Darius. This is based on the CBS article that was printed in September 23rd, 2020, on the report and findings that Citigroup did. Racism costs the US $16 trillion. Now we're going to get into it. The US government overthrew the Haitian. They invaded and then occupied Haiti. The backers of Wall Street ended up having the US take out the treasury, which in today would be over $15 billion. So very interesting that Citigroup did this where their predecessors were Citibank. So it's saying a lot. Also, the year in which this article was published, September 23rd, the GDP of China was $14.69 trillion. So you throw out a number, why 16 trillion and how would this even be possible? Let's look at industry. Years ago, the History Channel did a series on Rockefeller, Carnegie, and titans of industry. And it showed their rise and how their companies became their companies and how they are the zenith of American business. Interesting, one of those was also Ford. Interesting name comes in, and I'll insert photo here. C.R. Patterson. These brothers had a car company which in their time, the way that they were building their automobiles was far superior to anything that Ford did. But we'll come back to that. When I travel overseas, I take a plane. You can take a ship, God bless you. It's going to take you a while, but I take the plane. How interesting that there's a young man who never got his flowers. Charles Friedrich Page. There was an exhibition that was supposed to be held, in St. Louis in 1904. Why is this important? Well, Mr. Page had built by himself an airship. It flew, and he did this 2 years before the Wright brothers, April 10th, 1906. How the world would have changed if they did not steal his invention. Even more for those who came after to know this was done by a gentleman who was born in the later days of slavery. If you see New York City at night, Paris at night, anytime, or if you're in at night, you go into the office, into your house, you have light. Okay? Mr. Lewis Howard Latimer. The carbon filaments or the light that Mr. Edison got credit for, the evaporated air conditioner. These are things that have shaped the world. If you have given and allowed fair play on an even field, that $16 trillion starts to unfold by how real it is. Okay. Transportation and, most important, mobile refrigeration. When you're out on the road and you see a refrigerated truck and you see this all thanks to the hood. Now, since the Trump presidency, there was a very, very interesting thing that happened with a Chinese blogger on TikTok that went viral. This man rightfully said China really didn't steal anything, right? Higher ups, the ruling party of the United States, they were going to divest because they did not want to pay the citizens what they were, even more so black folks. When you have to pay someone on a fair scale, they were not going to do that. They went to where labor is cheaper. What did the Chinese do? They invested in education, they invested in roads, they invested in the STEM programs, leading to a revolution where a population of then 1.3 billion people, 1.4 now, has a GDP of $19 trillion. This is 5 years later. Again, Citigroup in September 23rd, 2020 states the country would be $16 trillion richer, at least, if it were not for racism. There were many Black Wall Streets, not just Tulsa, and we have to give them their flowers. So, ladies and gentlemen, the revolution that is to become for the diaspora, that has already started taking root in the Sahel states, so much so that Trump years ago said they were S-hole countries. He has now sent his people to those very countries that he didn't care too much about to facilitate trade. This is not to mention the countless leaders of the African states which they have executed. Again, since we're on the term of Citigroup, racism cost the country $16 trillion. If those blocks were not in place, the Patterson companies, had they been allowed to trade, free trade, with a free Africa, then you start to see the real possibility. Beautiful thing which has happened since the ACS has taken over, you're starting to see that come into fruition. By sheer numbers and demographics, 25% of everyone living on the face of this earth will be African in 2050. The countless number of doctors, physicians, engineers, teachers, the cultural fabric that made America and that has the Pan-African brothers and sisters is something to think about. And soon you will see that $16 trillion grow. But there'll be a different driver. So, a big salute to the big homies of the past. We see you, and today we give you your flowers. And this is Dupree Marcel. Like, subscribe, share, comment, and I will see you soon.